Hi everybody, and welcome to the graduation day of the third edition of our Xcelerator program. I'm very happy to have you all here. Let me introduce myself. I'm Lorenzo Rea, and I'm the Managing Director of the program. And we're here today to see the progress we achieved in these past 4 months with our batch. For the few of you that don't know yet, Xcelerator is the acceleration program run by Startup Wise Guys and CDP Venture Capital, and is also organized with a plethora of amazing partners, of which we are going to tell you more later. But today, I'm here joined on stage by 2 amazing guests. I have Cristobal, the CEO of Startup Wise Guys, and Guido Giordano, the partner of CDP Venture Capital. And before we start and we learn more about our startups, I would like for you to say a few words about the program, about these 2 amazing realities. Cristobal, we start with you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Yeah, Startup Wise Guys, just to give you a bit of history. And when we talk about history, we're looking older and older because we're now running for 12 years, down more than 450 investments. We can proudly say that the most active investor in early stage in Europe, and hopefully soon even around the globe. But the story today is about cyber, and the story starts about almost 6 years ago when talking to Farid, who is now my general partner in the cyber fund. We get the crazy idea that we need to get cyber investments in early stage. We started in 2018 in Estonia, 2019, and we have even a crazier idea, which was to create the first cyber-focused fund investing only in early stage founders. Fun enough, a year later, the story gets better. In a call with Stefano Molino from CDP, we're about cyber in Italy. And I think the whole Cyber Xcelerator Cosenza Italy started. Proudly to say that we've done almost 40 investments in cybersecurity so far. We're close to get more than 20 in Italy. And I think it's an amazing journey that I don't see as the end today, but the beginning to see how some of these startups are going to be the ones changing the landscape in Europe and globally. We could proudly say some years from now that they started here. And that's what all matters. It's about the start, the beginnings, but also the journey.
Thank you, Cristobal. And Guido, please tell us more about CDP Venture Capital and your programs in Italy.
Absolutely. So hi everyone, my name is Guido Giordano and I'm a partner in the Xcelerator Fund. Xcelerator Fund is one of the funds of CDP. Right now, CDP is the largest investor here in Italy. And we are proud to have the Cyber Accelerator among our accelerators. So what do we have done so far? The fund is about 3 years old. And what we have set up to do is to build what we call the Rete Nazionale degli Acceleratori. So we built a network of accelerators that are all across Italy. Right now, there are 18 of them that are up and running, and there are 2 that we are about to launch. So this is the largest infrastructure for pre-seed seed investment in Europe. And we're really proud that one of these nodes of the network is the Cyber Accelerator. Our goal is to support all the Italian startups, international startups, to build what is the next big thing here out of Italy on our nation soil, and contributing to the wealth of Italy, and hopefully to make Europe to put Europe on the map. The Cyber Accelerator for sure is one of our jewel in the crown for what we have done so far. We had we were lucky enough to partner with Startup Wise Guys, and as you guys, we are here to see what amazing things the startups of this batch have built.
Thank you, Guido. Thank you, Cristobal. And before we're about to hear more about the startup, but before to get to know more about them, I just want to take a couple of minutes to tell you more about what we have done in these 4 months. And I will do that with the use of some slides. As I was saying, Cyber Accelerator is an initiative that has been run by Startup Wise Guys and CDP, but this would have not been possible without the help of our amazing partners. So basically, we've been accompanied through this journey by 4 amazing partners, which are Leonardo and Italgas from the corporate side. We also had University della Calabria as knowledge partner, and Entity Data as technological partner, who has also been kind enough and has welcomed us today in their Milan offices and also in their Cosenza office in the past. But before we talk more about the program, I just want to remind what is and always been our mission, and what I think I'm fairly confident to say we share with CDP. We always wanted to help founders become successful entrepreneurs and help them to build great international tech companies that could be sustainable, in the sense that we are here to make the success, and the success for us are companies that last decades, not only years. And this is a little bit the timeline of the program. We started around 4 months ago, in October 23rd. The program has been always hybrid, and we have been together on site in different parts of Europe. We've been almost 2 weeks in Cosenza, when we had the chance to meet several partners, and we've been in Estonia, in the south of Estonia, in Startup Day, which is one of the biggest startup conferences in the Baltics, and all of these led us here to the graduation day in Milan. So we are very happy on what we've done during this program. About the batch, today we're not going to hear them pitching, but we're going to see something different. We're going to have 2 panels where the founders are going to talk about their company and the macro trends on cybersecurity. We have 5 startups, we have 5 different nationalities, because our batch are always that international, and these are the fabulous 5: Blue Lock AI, CyberDart, Resilient Tech Security, Zeforum, and TrustLinks. About the program, I told you already a little bit of what happened. There have been a lot of mentoring, a lot of one-on-one session, a lot of workshop. We had over 40 mentors, lead coaches. We had 5 tracks where the startups have been always challenged in a practical way: fundraising, company building, sales, pitching, and cybersecurity. And of course, we had the Cosenza Visit, we had our partners mentoring the startup, we had the product and market sprint, and we also had our legendary offsite, where we have been 2 days with the whole Startup Wise Guys team, and we had the chance to get to know more about the startup, not only from a professional level, but also from a professional one. And where also our global CEO had the chance to cook for us, as he usually do for all the batches. And yeah, that's it. These are just a couple of photos to give you some face, because there are always people behind the startups. And this is us at the start of the program, when we were in Entity Data Office in Rende, in Cosenza. And this is us in Estonia, when we were at Startup Day, that when we other startup batches, we pitched in front of a lot of investors and a lot of corporates. So that's it. That's it from my side. And now we're about to finally hear from the startup. But before I give the floor to Farid, our Cyber General partner, to introduce you to the next panel, I just want to show you a video about the story of Startup Wise Guys.
Very inspiring, creativity,
passion for the work,
family, fun, and red.
But you believe in people and what they can accomplish, even though the rest of the world doesn't. And I think that is quite special.
To me, Startup Wise Guys is a family that is changing founders' lives.
I have to say it's all a blur right now, because the last 4.5 months has been absolutely crazy, but in the good way, of course.
I would say our community of 700 founders, our team of 25 nationalities, almost 60 people, is that international vibe, energy, passion, and fun that we always create wherever we go, and that impact that what people say, Startup Wise Guys has been here.
I think what's really special about us is we're an accelerator, we're an investor, but beyond that, we're someone who makes actually founders' dreams come true, and we support them on this journey.
Wherever we are going, we aim to have the impact there, and we are in it for the long term.
I think the most surprising for me as a mentor is how much I enjoy it. Like every single batch, when I finish it, then I go home and then I say, I had an amazing day.
For you to actually build a startup, it's a lot of hard work, it's a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, but they make it fun and easy.
It brings everybody together, and sometimes that you would not expect those people to work together, but somehow under the Startup Wise Guys brand, that works.
support has been amazing, and yeah, I really love the team and everybody.
We just do our jobs, and you do your jobs, and that's why Symbios is so great.
Oh, my new job is flip checks.
For me, it's the mission, help new founders to build the big companies, and I'm very proud.
And the whole thing around Wise Guys with the team, the management team, the vision where you guys want to go and all that, it's just this openness of like, there's no wrong answer, just good advice with good heart behind.
In a way, it's like changing world through entrepreneurship, and I love it.
There's nothing to consider, it's just join.
Oh, wow, what a passionate video and a great team. So, you know, we're over here to meet some great cybersecurity startups, and I'm going to bring them on one by one to have a little panel to discuss how small, medium businesses and enterprises are affected by cybersecurity and what they can do to make their lives better. So I'm going to start with Nicolo from CyberDart. Come and join us on the stage.
Hi, Fred.
Hey. Of course, Francesco from Blue Lock AI. Hey, man. All right. And finally, Jim from Resilient X. Come and join us on stage.
Hey, Fred.
Hey. All right. So we've got 3 founders who are building exceptional companies, trying to make lives easier and better for CFOs, CEOs, CTOs, CSOs all over the world. And we're going to hear from them as to what they think the future is and what the industry is like. But I want to start with a very basic question to all of them is, what are you guys building and how is this making the world a better place? So I'm going to start with Jim.
So in Resilient X Security, we provide a unified exposure management platform. It helps customers to discover their assets, identify vulnerabilities and security issues, and help them to remediate those issues. So what we actually help our customers, which are service providers, MSPs, MSSPs, and mid-sized enterprises to do is to remediate those security issues before the hackers attack their companies.
All right, sounds like something that we definitely need. Francesco, what about you?
Yes, well, we've built an AI firewall. We're implementing artificial intelligence into cybersecurity. And it's a system that detects when hackers are trying to access your website through analyzing user behavior, your users, how they behave, and how someone is behaving in a malicious way.
Great, fantastic. Nicolo, what about CyberDart?
With CyberDart, we developed one of the first bug bounty platform with a no bugs, no fee business model. So basically, this is amazing because we can provide bug bounty program not only to small and medium businesses, but also to large enterprises because the customers pay only when one of our ethical hackers found a bug.
Fantastic. So I'm trying to make things easier, more unified, and better for business owners. So, I always wanted to kind of ask this question because, as Lorenzo mentioned earlier, we're all coming from different parts of the world. Francisco, you're from Latin America, from Chile. I wanted to also kind of talk a little bit about the differences between the market, the cybersecurity market, the companies in Europe versus that in South America. So let's start with Francisco, and then what's your view on you've seen the market in both places, and then of course Nicolo and Jim, if you guys want to add on something, go for it.
Yes, well, the market in Latin America and Europe are very different. In Europe, there are a lot of regulations like GDPR and others that are very strict on what each company can do, whereas in Chile and in Latin America, there are less regulations, less certifications that are needed. So each company kind of has to find their own way, and that's where we've tried to build something that can help these companies find something that works for them while still also being able to follow the regulations in Europe and in Latin America.
Great. What about you, Nicolo and Jim? I mean, in Europe, what do you see? How do you see customers and businesses? Are they focusing on cybersecurity, or is it still,
catching on? What are you seeing? Jim, go for it.
So unfortunately, in the last years, as we saw, especially European companies, and I'm talking about SMEs, so small and medium enterprises, they usually look at cybersecurity as some kind of cost. But unfortunately, cybersecurity should be treated as some kind of investment for the companies because it's completely related to the business continuity and, of course, the success of the company.
I completely agree with Jim, actually. I can add actually one thing, because in Italy there is a big delay with respect to the other main countries in Europe. Because, for example, right now in Italy is really strong the cloud-based solution in cybersecurity, which is an old trend for all the main countries in Europe and also for America, of course. And it's funny because it's the same for the bug bounty, actually, because the bug bounty is an old trend for the main countries all over Europe, but it's not for Italy.
Right. So you're right. Actually, we see this kind of delay in pickup of trends, and it looks like it's quite similar across both regions. But you're right, Francesco. Like Europe is more homogeneous, and in Latin America you have to deal with each customer individually, right? Now, Jim, coming back to you use a lot of technical terms. You use a platform, end to end. So tell us like how you guys are different, and what's unique about it. And whenever we talk about cybersecurity, we talk about pen testing, we talk about vulnerability assessment. So tell us a little bit about, does your product kind of cover that, or what do you guys do?
Okay, perfect question. Actually, when we talk about penetration testing and vulnerability assessment, which has been existing in this market for a long time, we are talking about activities that had been done, for example, once or twice per year. What we try to do is to provide companies an opportunity to do these activities in a continuous way. And what continuous is 24/7 per 24 hour per 7 days. So what we actually provide is also a tool to service providers, so MSPs and MSSPs, which want to perform vulnerability assessment and penetration testing to the end customers. We provide a tool to them that they can do it in few hours.
All right. Now, I'm going to pause over here to just let everybody know, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can ask questions in the comments. And I have my phone here, and it's not for checking Instagram or anything. It's for actually looking at the questions. So in about 5 minutes or so, I'll be looking at some of the questions you're going to put forward. We're going to try and answer them, and there may or may not be a prize for the best questions, but we don't know yet, right? Okay. So coming back to you, Francesco, I mean, I'm really interested in your product because I often find that cybersecurity, we talked about this, is often, we always talk about cybersecurity, we think of big companies. But you have an interesting product because you're trying to target those smaller companies, those smaller businesses. So how does one use your product? Like, who would use it, and how would they go about it?
That's a good question. Right now, we've just developed a new product, which is a WordPress-specific product that is made for smaller companies, websites, landing pages, blogs, e-commerce websites, which are very important for them. The website is where they make all of their revenue. And our product is simple. It plugs into your website, and it starts analyzing your traffic and blocking anything that might come in. And it's made for these companies that have a lower budget, that can't afford big, hefty solutions, and can use something more simple, but still very, very safe.
Right, and how easy is it to get installed, and do you need IT guys or?
No, it's 10 minutes, plug and play onto your WordPress website. All you need is access to your administrative page.
And this is really interesting because you never realize how much revenue you lose till somebody takes over your website, right? And it's already too late. And when you design something that's so simple and easy for somebody to install, I mean, I really hope the future, 2024, 2025, when you're going and developing a website, make sure you have cybersecurity as one of the tick boxes, along with SEO, along with fonts and colors, because this kind of stuff is more and more common. Site takeovers are more and more common, and it really has an impact, right? So I really like the fact that it's not only like all the products we're talking about, they don't only focus on small and like enterprises, but even mom and pop stores, anybody that has an online presence. And Nicolo, over to you. Now, bug bounty platforms, they're very interesting because they've been there for some time, but they've always been under the radar. Now, tell me a little bit about what a bug bounty platform is, how is it different from pen testing, and why should a business do it?
The big difference with respect with penetration testing is that a penetration test is just a photo of what is your digital assets now in terms of cybersecurity. But it's not a continuous testing of your cybersecurity level. You can do that in a really efficient way in terms of money and in terms of time if you do a bug bounty, because you are going to pay the hacker only when they found a bug. So only a monetary reward for them.
Okay, so what you're trying to tell me is that for bug bounty, you have the word hackers in there, but they're good hackers, right? Yeah. So
ethical hackers.
Ethical hackers, and people don't realize that there are people who actually do this with a passion for making the world a better place. So it's actually quite nice that that's becoming more and more popular. And how does somebody go about? Okay, before we talk about but can you give us an example of some examples of bug bounty programs that have yielded some results? Or
absolutely, one of our current customers is really important because he managed a trading platform, and with just 2 hours after the launch of the bug bounty program, we found a critical vulnerability, which was the maximum level of the severity. Mm-hmm. And basically, this vulnerability could allow a bad hacker to take all the money from this trading platform to the bad hackers. So he could lose millions and millions, and actually he can save this money with just 2K reward.
So now let's ask the final question, and we'll go back to some of the other panelists. How does somebody come about and start a bug bounty program or a campaign?
Get in touch with me, tell me the budget, and we will see what our hackers can do.
Okay, so you tell a budget, but this budget is like the total that they can pay. I mean,
absolutely.
It's a no bug, no fee kind of a platform, right? Yeah. So this is great because you can have a smaller budget and you can still try and get some of those critical vulnerabilities sorted out and then move forward with life, right? Fantastic. Francesco, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, you mentioned a lot of like AI stuff, and I mean the fact that it's WordPress that you're going for, but how is it different from preparation and what does your product bring to the table that some of the existing products don't bring at the moment?
Yeah, well, we've delivered a product that focuses on getting the most out of this AI solution. Okay. And what that means is right now, AI is great at detecting threats as early as possible, before they even are completed. Okay. So what we're focusing on is having the earliest detection in the market. There are other solutions today for WordPress, but they focus mostly on scans and other types of protection which are needed and we also offer, but they don't have early detection to stop these hackers before they even come into your site.
Okay, I mean, what made you start this?
Well, I specialize in cybersecurity, and I was actually doing a pen test, and I realized that what I was doing was very different to what a normal user does. A normal user goes into his dashboard, checks his notifications. I was trying to break a form or going into the website that no one goes into. And I thought, if someone were looking at me right now, they'd say, this is wrong. This is strange. Why is he doing this? So that's when I got together with Macarena, my co-founder, and she specializes in AI. And we came up with this idea of using AI pattern detection to detect these strange behaviors between normal users and hackers.
Which is quite interesting because, I mean, I always see products being designed by people who write code, but they don't really understand how people use the product and how hackers or bad actors use the product, and it's completely different. So it's a great kind of take on it. Jim, I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about the future of the product. So, from what I understand, you're targeting enterprises. So what does the future of Resilient X hold for them?
Perfect. So actually, we have released our unified exposure management a couple of months ago, which we saw lots of success, in terms of growth. We've seen around 20% month-by-month growth on the unified exposure management. And we have planned to release our vendor risk management. It's a solution dedicated to assessing the third-party risk in the next couple of months.
So let me get this straight. So you're going to have vendor risk management, you're going to have exposure management. So you're trying to bring all these tools that normally an enterprise has to have different vendors for. You're bringing it into one platform, so I don't have to mess about managing different things. And because it's true, I mean, nowadays you could be fully cyber secure, but your vendor who's providing you teas or coffees or providing you small printing services might be the weak link through which bad actors can get access to your data, get access to your billing data, get access to your customer data. And in Europe, we know this is very costly, right? Because we have a lot of laws, we have a lot of regulation. So it's great to know a little bit about the products. I really like how we've got a whole gamut of everything from like mom and pop e-commerce stores to for example, Francisco, your product being useful for web development agencies who can provide that en masse. We have bug bounty platform for any budget, so to speak. And I really love it that we're finally addressing this vertical. But talking about cybersecurity, we're in 2024 now, and we're at this critical point where a lot of data is out there. I'd love to hear from each of you guys there. What do you think, some piece of advice for small and medium businesses, any business for that matter, in cybersecurity? What should they look at? What should they do? Small piece of advice.
Well, for me, the major mistakes that is made is by the management, because the management is not seeing cybersecurity as a strategic investment. They are seeing cybersecurity as something that they need to do in order to get some kind of certification, something like that. But actually, it's so much more than that. You have to be safe for yourself and for your customers. Mm-hmm. So, I think that we need a change in terms of mindset.
And going off on what Nicolas said, I think it's very important to say that you shouldn't wait to receive an attack to invest into cybersecurity. Because I've seen that a lot, where companies are like, yeah, we'll invest in it later, we'll wait, and then they receive an attack, and then it's where the cost is really high, a lot higher than if you had invested early.
I would also add that we need to increase the awareness in cyberspace. So, because a lot of people are aware that, for example, phishing attacks happens, a lot of other kind of attacks happens, but unfortunately, they're not expert or even in the basis domain of cybersecurity. So what I would suggest is companies would also invest a bit in the cybersecurity training of their employees.
All right, great. And I mean, you mentioned something about certification. Yeah. Jim, is certification or certification users a part of your customer base as well? People who are looking to get certifications?
Yes, exactly. So actually, many of companies, so service providers, use our products in terms of when their customers need to perform, ISO 27001 or 9001. They use our product to generate reports in a couple of hours instead of days and weeks to do the assessments.
All right, great. Now, I also want to add something over here. I mean, cybersecurity, you can never be 100% safe, but I think the trick here is to be able to get, some kind of deterrence, because the hackers will always go for the easiest target. If you just have that one lock on your door, they will try and find something else, right? Now, I'm going to look at my phone for some questions that have been asked on YouTube, and there have been a few of them. We're getting them from a few of the different sources that we're currently streaming out to. One of the questions that I do have, and this one's quite a tough one because this one gets asked a lot, is if each of you had to suggest one cybersecurity product that wasn't your own to businesses, or even just a type of product, what do you think they could use that can just be that one padlock, that one deterrence that can make it a little bit more difficult for people to cause trouble?
I can start off. One of the foremost is having secure passwords. It's the basic answer, but it's actually very important, either through a password manager or having two-factor authentication, just to make sure that the access points are safe.
Right. It's quite interesting. I've actually met companies where a group of employees share the same password. So it's actually, you might think that this is like quite, hey, well, why are these guys talking about this? But you will be surprised how vulnerable passwords are. Nicola, go for it.
I can add something about it, because I think that companies should not focus only on products or services, but they should focus on the people. So on training their employees about cybersecurity, because as Francisco said before, we have a lot of problems in terms of phishing attacks, something like that. They are the majority of the attack, and it's due to the lack of knowledge in terms of cybersecurity.
Jim, anything you want to add to this?
In my opinion, I think the detection and response technologies are very needed alongside the offensive activities that are being done. So usually companies perform 1 or 2 vulnerability assessments per year. But of course, those endpoints need to be constantly monitored. So in my opinion, for example, EDR technologies or XDR technologies is also some technologies that is really needed in especially mid-sized enterprises and smaller ones.
I think that's great advice what Jim's saying, and I think there are some new technologies that are coming out which are very simple to use. And I'm also getting another question over here. I know our time is going to be running out soon, but this is a question that's for all of you. but I want to have an input in it as well. But the question is, I mean, the market, cybersecurity, your 3 other startups, there are other vendors over doing products as well. Is there enough space for you guys in the market?
But for us, for sure, we are the only bug bounty platform in Italy, so I think yes.
Right. So anybody else wants to answer this question?
Oh, for sure. No, the cybersecurity market is huge and it's only growing. I mean, we've seen how vulnerabilities have been growing in the past few years. There are more attacks and also more companies that need protection. So I see this as a growing opportunity more than a diminishing one for sure.
So, from the time that we launched in September, we had actually, achieved around 300% until right now, the growth. And we are keeping, the pace of 20% growth. So I think there is for sure, space in the market.
It's great that these guys said, because my answer to this was, you'd be surprised how much demand there is for cybersecurity and how poor, even in more established companies, cybersecurity awareness, tools, policies are. A really close friend of mine often said the only person who read the IT and cybersecurity policy was the person who wrote it. And so that's why we need tools that make this invisible, right? We're I think, coming to the end, or do we have time? No, we're coming to the end to this panel. So it's been great having you guys around, and I know that you guys are going to go change the world, make it a better place, and I don't mean it from a we are the world kind of perspective, but we kind of need this, right? Every year we're seeing this problem, the news, the fines increasing, and it's people like me, my parents, they get affected by it. The number of phishing emails they get, number of amount of data that's been stolen that is sensitive. And so I really am passionate about seeing you guys succeed, both from a wise guy's perspective, but also from making this world safer for our kids and for our parents. So thanks a lot, guys. If you guys enjoyed this panel, we're gonna come back with another panel about the future of our digital lives, and the panel is going to be by none other. Being chaired by none other than Cristobal Alonso. If you haven't met him, he is the phenomenal CEO of Startup Wise Guys, and this one's going to be surely enjoyable. So stick around. But till then, watch this video, and we'll see you at the next panel.
Where it should be and how it should operate within both a digital and a physical world. So these AI tools are now going to be an amazing canvas for us to work with.
We do a 3D streaming for the metaverse.
We are training affordable, simple, and accessible.
To get AR content from scratch.
It was an amazing experience.
This is a huge opportunity.
I've had a really amazing time. It's been very cool.
Completely new levels.
Lots of tough love.
Thank you, Startup Wise Guys. You made us work a lot.
I love you.
Welcome back. It's been fascinating to listen to Farid and to the previous panel, and also again understanding that when cybersecurity has moved from a bunch of geeks and IT departments to everything that is impacting our lives, the need for this type of solutions is just increasing, and there is space for more innovation. But talking about the impact and enlarging the lives, that's what we want particularly to talk about the impact in our lives, the digital lives. And we're going to talk about two things within that one. The legacy, what happens when we die? Let's talk about what happens when we die. And also the trust. Or can you even put together that legacy and trust are probably the most important things when we talk about digital life? And let me start first, let's start breaking stereotypes, right? So can you say about passion, female, and cybersecurity? Is that even possible to combine these three things together? And I think our first guest, our first CEO, Julia, from Ceforum, is going to actually break all these things and put them all together. Julia?
Hi, Cristobal.
Hi, good to see you. And the next one is that most of the guys from corporate cannot make startups. They cannot show passion, they're too boring, they're too slow. And I think Edgar's from TrustLinks is also the one to break these stereotypes. Edgar's?
Yes. Ciao, Cristobal. Ciao, Julia.
Ciao.
My pleasure.
Hi.
By the way, yes, I was going to pronounce their last names, but I realized that I will not pronounce properly Julia, and that you will think that Edgar's is not Latvian, but Greek. By the way, I will pronounce his last name. So I decided let's keep it as Edgar's and Julia as a much easier thing. But maybe before we start, you guys can both introduce the company, 30-second speech. First Julia, then Edgar's. What do you guys do? What does your company do?
Well, Xcelerator is addressing the pressing issue of digital legacy, as you said. So people who are planning their own digital legacy or want to recover the digital legacy of some beloved one who has already died, finally find a solution with us. It's an underserved need that we took care of, and we allow for the first time digital legacy recovery, management, and remembrance.
Edgar, TrustLinks?
Yes, TrustLinks is a set of solutions. We've simplified the way how any business application could be extended with support of different trust services. Think of digital identity methods, think of signing, e-sealing, collecting signatures, in a very simple yet very secure way. If you want to go digital, you must use either of the trust services, and we made it very simple to do that.
One of the things we do in the Xcelerator is we spend a whole week doing what we call the market engineering sprint. And one of the key aspects here is to understand which vertical, which category you operate in. And I remember talking to Julia, said, man, I love the digital legacy. But what is digital legacy? What is it that why is so important to take care of it now, not when we actually disappear from this planet?
Thank you. Thank you for asking this, because this is the whole point, the whole focus of Xcelerator. Digital legacy is actually all the information that every individual who is online leaves once they pass. So it's very important to take care of it, because otherwise, when someone is gone, it's very difficult, complicated, and in terms of bureaucracy, legal terms, and even data privacy to recover this data. What we do is that we allow to keep this information that is stored in social networks, email accounts, clouds, and other digital service providers, and we give it back to the legitimate heirs, who are the legitimate owners of those data. And so nothing gets lost. Nothing gets lost like tears in the rain, like Blade Runner, like the famous Blade Runner quote. But for the first time, this is not lost. This can be restored and acquire a new value, and it's like giving back life to, not to a person, but to their memory.
Talk about legitimacy, and I think this probably opens me the door for Edgar's, but also thinking that we used to talk about authentication, we talk about signatures, but now we talk about trust. So what is this evolution? What is happening there that we're looking for something bigger, that becomes something like trust, which I think to me is a huge word, and how to define the space in which you operate?
Yeah, the way how you asked it actually also represents the current situation. When a company needs to understand who the real user is coming there, they are using one direction. They are using different sorts of trustworthiness of identities. Then once the user is there, they use another tools or cloud vendors to get everything fixed, signed. And there's also sealing. Sealing is a way how to ensure data traceability, how to make sure this is really authentic from this organization, that it's unchanged, and this is especially growing now with the Gen AI, how easily it's to produce something fake and do harm things. So It all comes back to trust. We use this terminology. In fact, in Europe, trust services are very concretely defined, and it also includes identities, signatures, seals, validation, and so on. But the biggest issue there is the adoption of them. It's like, hey guys, here are trust services, go and use them. And yeah, there are alternatives, but in the end, the company or each small, medium, or bigger size company, they need to figure out the way how to do it. So this is more like practical. They want to go digital, they need to use them. Another one is the regulation. There are more and more regulations coming in, forcing companies to be, by the law, more secured, more protected. And one of the answers is also introducing of trust services in the digital business, different areas there.
But I think people might be thinking, especially from the consumer mindset, you know, I have digital signature in my country. That's all I need, right? Is that true, or how do you? Are your competitors? Are you complementing with them? What's your view on how basically digital signature or basically identification compares with what your solution?
Yeah, look, very often this is the case. You don't know what you don't know. Like, until you have seen how these things could be done differently, you can't imagine. And this is what we are very often facing. So not right now, most likely, so you have a signature in your pocket or in your phone. So most likely you're doing two things. You're using some desktop application to get something signed. So you're taking data out of the system where it's actually meant to be managed. You do the manual tasks, you throw to the other partner, they do the same, get it back. So it's a soil for errors, for risks, for threats. Alternatively, you go to some middlemen, some service providers in the cloud. Yes, this is already much better experience, but this way you're not holding control of what's happening with the information, with the data there. But responsibility is yours. I don't know, your customers, your employees, they have trusted you the data, which you are now, you know, throwing to somebody else just for convenience to get the required trust element in your business. So we've introduced a way how to make it very simple to add the trust where you manage data, where your users work, instead of, you know, pushing around or doing the manual tasks.
You know, again, going back to the consumer, because I think it's the easiest way for people to understand what we are doing, even if you're working in B2B, Julia. Everybody thinks, you know, I need to make my will, right? And in fact, you also started with a B2C, but you kind of move into B2B. So I would say two questions in one. Who are you selling to? So who are your customers? Why are you their friend and not their enemy? Why are you not stealing business from them, but in fact increasing the business and the scope of their business is going forward?
Yeah, exactly. We started as a B2C because the ultimate customer is the consumer, the client, the individual. But in this month, actually, with this batch, we pivoted to a B2B2C model because our question was, how can we help in the easiest way? And at the same time, from a business point of view, how can we grow in the least difficult way? And the answer was go B2B2C, because so that people who are already customers of other businesses can benefit from this new experience. And at the same time, these businesses, which become our partners and not enemies but allies, as you say, they will differentiate their offer, they will have something new to propose to their clients, and they will make them happier also. It's good even for new business. What about the heirs of some ex-client who has deceased? They're going to make them a huge favor because the digital legacy is something very meaningful and purposeful for them. So maybe they're going to be even new clients. They weren't before, and now, thanks to this, they're going to be. But really, the point is B2B2C because this is an interlocutor between the businesses, even providers of data and of information itself, and the legitimate heirs or the legitimate beneficiaries.
I want to remind everyone that I will be looking at my phone in 5 minutes to see which questions you have out there. So, you know, any question coming. And also Farid told me that I have to motivate you guys. So, you know, have a couple of copies of a couple of books written by some strange guys called Cristobal Alonso and Stoyan Yankov, ready to be signed and sent to you. So go for the best question. But Julia, let me ask you something, because I think when people thinking that we're going to be talking about death, about testaments, about wills, we're going to be having a founder that is 55 years old, talking about something that is happening to him or her soon, and they probably get surprised about a early 30s founder talking about it. How do you get passionate? How do we also help people talking about death much earlier and making it part of their life experience to take care of what is going to happen no matter what?
Well, let me say that it all came through a personal experience. And my personal experience is not just mine. I discovered that there are already more than 100,000 millions of ghost accounts of dead users. So this means there are hundreds of millions of families who are already facing these issues. What happened is that I faced the so-called digital ghost of a person who I loved and who died, and I had to face this person on Facebook. I thought everyone had said goodbye to her, had said farewell, we were okay with the succession and everything, and it was not, because she was floating on the web, uncontrolled, at risk of identity theft, macabre gossip, and what's more, maybe the digital providers will say, okay, you know what, this profile is inactive, I can just delete it. And so all those photos, videos, contents that are very purposeful for me, for us, for each family, they get lost. And so this is really what drove my passion, our passion, the passion of our team. Let me say this, because this is very important. Of course, this is a business, but what drove us all together and keep on giving us, the passion and the motivation to do this is that our motto is, we are human beings before being users. So our data have a value.
No, I agree. And I would say this, I almost face this constantly, because I always go to LinkedIn, I put Farid, right? And I only have 2 Farids in my network, and one of them, unfortunately, is a colleague that died more than 6 years ago in a hotel room. So every time I'm looking for Farid, I make Farid and this guy who has died 6 months ago, and he keeps being there, right? So actually, I remember when you told me the story for the first time, it's like, I am facing this constantly, right? And I always have what is happening there? What happened with their families, right? Change of topic, but back to you, Edgar's. What do you think are the 2 or 3 biggest innovations happening right now? So you said, quickly, bullet point, what is happening in authentication, in trust, that is changing the market right now?
Mm-hmm. Number one, there is being introduced digital identity wallet across Europe. So if right now the identity consists name, surname, identifier number, maybe country code, then what is shaping is that it's going to be much more. The identity is many more attributes. Driver license, what level driver license, I don't know, certificate this, education, permit to use this or that. It's going to be much more, bringing much more possibilities for businesses and for people with self-sovereign, I control what data is given to whom, for what purpose, and so on. So this is one big trend happening right now. By 2030, 80% of European citizens and residents will use either of the such ID wallets.
Do you think Europe is more advanced than the rest of the people? We think about, maybe US, maybe, what's happening, in Singapore, in China. What do you think? What's the status? Is a big difference right now?
Look, what are we comparing? In terms of regulation, it's way more advanced. And it's like with kids, the regulation, they might not like it, but it also gives certain rules when you know what is right and what is wrong. And in this case, we live here, so it's clear, what is trusted and what is where the liability to prove that goes away from you or comes to you. So in that sense, in the regulation part, yes, it's good and bad, how you take it. But Europe is definitely much more advanced than other regions. So now what's happening, there is this interoperability activities between Southeast Asia, North America, Central Asia, and Europe to be interoperable.
So let's finish with the future now, the future of digital legacy. So Julia, what do you think is happening in the market that is really changing the landscape in the next 3 years? Or what are the 2 things that you're constantly reading about? So you're up to date about what is happening in my space.
Yes, there are many data, a lot of literature about this topic, because we started being, online every day 30 years ago, but 30 years ago there wasn't this problem. Nowadays we rely a lot on our digital lives, so many people are starting to die online, and according to the reports, within a few decades there are going to be more dead than alive users on the web. So this is, of course, something that has to find, it's a gap of service that needs to find a solution. And there are more than one solutions, of course. This is why the dead tech industry is starting to emerge right now. So different solutions are emerging, generated through AI, or whether they are just legal tech solutions, or just for remembrance. But the world is just willing to start to use those services, because where there's a need, there's a way.
Okay. So clearly, everybody's expecting about new book, so nobody wants a copy of the old book. So there was no questions on YouTube because everything was so clear. So I wanted to leave you here. So, but I like the idea that we have talked about, again, putting back together trust and legacy, and how, but also the evolution that is happening. The idea that we need to take care of this, and that this is not anymore about preventive. This is actually about giving us peace of mind on how we transact. Personally, and how every company, every individual should be thinking about these two things constantly. And one day that you actually relax, this could be against us. So thank you, both of you, for putting your brains out there, your views out there, but especially your companies, because I think what you are doing and what your companies are doing are going to help us having a better digital life, which at the end of the day is what we spend most of the time right now. So thank you, both of you.
Thank you, Cristobal. Thank you, everybody.
So I think this is a wrap. In Startup Wise, guys, we call it "This is a Burrito." So if you want to know why, you have to join our accelerator in the future. Wanted to thank, again, it's been this is the end of the journey, in a way, of our Cyber Accelerator in Italy. So I wanted to thank CDP and the entire Startup Wise guys. I also want to remember two people that I think has been amazing in this journey. Andrea Orlando, who brought us into Italy, and I think he's around here. And Hopeless is also there, Gita Polanska, who was our managing director in the first two batches, and I think is part of our team forever, part of the experience that bringing us to Italy, to Cosenza. So thank you, everybody. I think we have one more video for you, but one more theme. Let's keep enjoying life, but let's keep being safe, and safe is also digitally. So be cyber, be safe. Thank you.
Okay, guys, what a ride.
Wise guys!
A couple of months ago, we have started this journey with the Startup Wise guys, which have helped us to achieve 20% month-by-month growth right now that we are in February. It was actually a very interesting and super useful program. Thank you, Startup Wise guys. Thank you, Cristobal, Farid, and Lorenzo, and Monica. Thank you, all.
Walking in the rain in the University of Calabria.
It's been such a fun ride. It's great. It was great in Cosenza. Everything has been so much fun. We've learned so much. So have fun, do well. Good luck.
Startup Wise guys has been an amazing program for us. They really help us to grow as a team, and also speeding up the growth of Cybernet.
We are just about to finish, and I would like to thank all the team for supporting us.
And it's very cool that the word cyber actually comes from ancient Greek and means steersman or ship captain, because in a way, as cybersecurity startuppers are helping businesses and clients navigating through safe online waters. And the accelerator of Startup Wise guys at the same time has helped us as startuppers navigating through the safe business oceans. So in a way, we're all captains and we're all wise guys and girls.
Thank you guys for the acceleration program.
Startup Wise guys are probably the best in the world. See you guys soon.
Ciao, ciao. So we finally did it. You did it. We did it. You did it. You graduated. You finished the program. I'm super happy to be able to have met you. You're going to be super successful, I'm sure. I wish you the best. And let's see each other soon. Congrats.
Congratulations to all the startups. You know, it's been a roller coaster. It's been great having you. It's also been great to see all the progress you guys have made. I really hope we see 10x more progress, especially in a field that's so critical as cybersecurity. 2024 is the year where businesses and enterprises are looking at you for help, and general people like us are looking at you for keeping our data safe. So congratulations, don't stop, keep going. It's gonna get harder, but you now have the tools, you have the support system to go ahead and create a difference, be successful, and change the world.
I'm incredibly proud of everything you achieved in this program, and it's been literally an honor for me to work with you and to get to know you, not only as founders, but also as human beings. I'm extremely amazed on how good you are from all points of view.
We finally break up, we kiss, we make up.
This is just a start for your journey, and maybe the road ahead of you can be bumpy, but remember that we and I are only one call away from you. So remember this, enjoy the ride, we'll see you soon.
Cyber team.
Best teams
ever.
Hello, our cyber boys and girls. Here I am. It's been what we do the last 4 months. We promise you a lot of hard work, hopefully a lot of good work. And we can't wait to see how each of you are going to be revolutionizing the cyberspace in the different vertical categories, right? 2 things I want you to remember. When things go wrong, please give us a call. We are here for you. When things go well, please give us a call. Remember who invested first and who believed in you. And among everything else, the journey will be long, but enjoy the journey. See you very soon. Let's make some great noise. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao a tutti!